Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer and listener, my name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Let me welcome you to another invigorating, health-related episode, but as usual we're talking about things entrepreneurial. Our objective is to enthuse, energize and inspire you, obviously. And in this particular show we're going to talk about all matters natural health, and I'm going to talk to Dr. Carolyn Lebogang. But before I go to the doctor, the good doctor, Dr. Gasefete, can I just ask one small favor? Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We need your support. And if there's anybody looking for sponsorship out there or interested in sponsorship out there, please get in touch with our team. Thank you so much for coming to the studio.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Listen, people normally want to know the background, so tell them who you are and what you're about.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Carolyn Lebogang Gasefete. I am a naturopath, an ND. I'm a holistic health practitioner and a wellness coach.
Okay.
Yes.
In terms of academic training, what did you go through and how did it go?
First of all, let me say that I studied at the University of Botswana. I did my Bachelor's of Social Sciences, and I have a degree in Social Sciences. And then later on, I changed my career, and then I studied naturopathy. I have a degree in naturopathy. I do have a diploma in medicinal cannabis.
Medicinal cannabis.
Treating diseases with cannabis, yes.
Okay.
And I have a diploma in wellness coaching as well. And I'm currently pursuing my master's in natural medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What exactly is naturopathy, or how do you say it?
Naturopathy is basically natural medicine. Yeah, we focus on everything that is natural in approaching disease, lifestyle, and other issues.
Okay.
So we approach a person from a holistic point of view. Yeah.
You don't deal with drugs at all. You don't touch on drugs or medicines at all. It's all natural.
Yes, we don't do drugs.
Okay.
Yes, we do natural.
Okay.
So natural might include your lifestyle, that is your diet and how you live generally, physical activity, if you take in enough water and stuff like that. That is lifestyle. And then we have the botanical, that is the herbs, the reducing, and we have other manipulations like massage, acupressure, that is touching the pressure points in a person and stuff like that. So whatever we do is 100% natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
What attracted you to naturopathy? How did it all start?
I fell sick at some point. I fell sick and I was admitted at Princess Marina Hospital. And I was to undergo a surgery. And then somebody came and told me that you can treat this condition with natural medicine. So I actually left the hospital and went and tried natural medicine. And it worked.
Oh,
so
okay.
Since then I developed an interest. I started studying a plant, a flower in the garden to see if it has medicinal value and stuff like that. And it developed a broader interest. So I decided to take it professionally.
Is it your view, therefore, that most operations are avoidable?
Yes, they are.
Why do you
most
say
of them
that?
are avoidable. Total disease in general is avoidable most of the time. Yeah, so most of the surgeries that people go through, if they had known at a certain point in their lives, they could have done something about it. In naturopathy, we believe that your life is in your hands rather than in the hands of a doctor. So what you do every day, the choices, the decisions that you make, either build a disease or they prevent a disease. Yes.
In your case, are you willing to share what disease it was or what challenge it was that was fixed?
I had ovarian cysts, and I was supposed to lose my right ovary.
And it was all set and done and signed for by the doctor until somebody just came in.
I was actually in the hospital, like literally I was in the hospital bed, just waiting for the surgery to happen. And then somebody gave me that advice and I took it seriously and decided to leave. Of course, the hospital was not happy with my decision to leave, but I left. And I can say that I still have my ovaries, both of them today.
Congratulations.
Many years later.
And what did it take? What kind of interventions were necessary?
It was not easy. I would say that mostly for one to treat, you need to be determined in what you're doing. This same particular person advised me to go through what we call the lemon treatment. So I went through the lemon treatment and I had a vigorous change in diet and lifestyle. Yeah.
What is the lemon treatment?
It's a treatment using raw lemon juice, basically, for a certain period of time.
Just drinking non-stop lemon?
Yeah, it's a protocol. It's a protocol that I was following for a number of days. And during those days, I was not eating certain things. And I had to be physically active, taking a lot of water, like purified water, not just tap water. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. And this qualification, what does it take and how long does it take? The one that you got, the natural, how do you say it? I don't want to say it wrong.
Doctor of Naturopathy.
Naturopathy.
Yes.
It's a mixture of natural and therapy.
It's naturopathy.
Naturopathy, yes, okay.
Naturopathy basically is a 4 to 5 year study course. It depends where you're studying, of course. Some it's 4 years, some it's 5 years. So yeah, that's what it takes. You have to do medical practicals during your studies as well. So it's more like doing medicine, but on the natural, focusing on the natural side of things. Yeah.
You mentioned medicinal cannabis or medical cannabis. What is that? Is that motokwan?
Yes.
In Setswana?
Yes, cannabis ke motokwane.
Tell us, what was your involvement with that?
I actually developed a lot of interest in cannabis.
You're talking what they call weed, isn't it?
Yes, I decided to study it on a professional level. So I did a diploma of that to see how it can be used to treat different types of diseases. It's interesting how the whole seed actually has got in medicinal value. Yes, it's separated in different chemical properties, of which THC, it's psychotropic, and the rest are not.
What is psychotropic?
Psychotropic is, it gives you it makes you high. It makes you high.
So it's just THC one portion, which is
the element within the cannabis seed that makes you high. The rest don't. And as much as THC makes you high, it's also loaded with medicinal value. So yeah.
What portion of THC is of the overall seed, or of the overall tree or the medicine?
It's like around 12.3%, something like that. Yeah.
So
but as much as it's that little, it's still very
potent.
Yeah.
Now, to comply with the law, because cannabis is still illegal, isn't it? Is it better to remove it before you use it? To remove the THC?
Mostly what you see is CBD. Yeah, that's the most popular one, because CBD has got THC removed.
What is CBD?
From it. CBD is another component of the cannabis seed. So it usually comes either in capsules, in oil, Yeah, it comes in capsule or in oil. So that's what mostly is used medicinally, because at the end of the day, even if you want to treat a patient, if you have a patient or a client, you don't want a high client. You need somebody with controlled emotions, controlled activity and stuff like that. So mostly we use CBD. Yes.
I see that in America they've legalized in many states hemp or cannabis or motokwane or weed, whatever you call it, or marijuana. They've legalized it. It's got so many names. In Botswana, what is your attitude towards the legalization?
I feel it should be legalized. I don't advocate that a person should smoke weed because that has got a different effect on the body. But medicinally, I feel it should be allowed because most of the cancers that people are succumbing to can be treated if we can take that approach. So I feel that the government is not doing enough to study how this can be of benefit to Botswana and take action on it. I think the government has just looked at it from the psychotropic point of view. People
the
will
THC aspect.
From the THC aspect, or people will be high, and that's it. So they have not done a deep study. They have not benchmarked from others and see how others are doing. Because in other countries, this is given as a medical prescription. So you can actually take it as a prescription from a trained personnel.
Okay. We call this thing hemp in Setswana, hemp. And when I did a little bit of research, it is because it's one of the toughest materials comes from hemp, which is cannabis. Can you speak to that? Because we used to use it differently. We used to have a totally different approach to cannabis, to the point where we were wearing it as in our shirts. The hemp are on.
Like I said, in Botswana, when we think about hemp, about cannabis, we think smoking and getting high. We have not done deep research because hemp can be used in the construction industry. It can be used to make containers. It can be used to make lotions, lip balm. It can be used to make clothes, like you're saying. And using hemp is actually cheaper than most of the construction materials that we use, or the raw materials that we use. And it's durable. It doesn't produce disease like other materials that we use. So, like I said, we really need to study as the government of Botswana.
You studied to the point of getting a diploma in it. So, any surprises? What did you discover that surprised you about this medicine or this?
I actually discovered that naturally, when God created a human being, He made receptors, what we called CBD receptors in the body that are ready. There are many different receptors that are ready to receive this medicine and work with it within the body naturally. Therefore, it can be used for the brain, it can be used for the respiratory system, it can be used for the heart, it can be used for the kidneys, jalo jalo. So it's interesting to see that man was naturally made to use this. Yeah.
That's, how do you convince legislators and even some doctors that forget the THC aspect, remove THC and the rest of the drug? I assume, just thinking logically, if 12% is bad for you, that means 88% is good for you.
They need a workshop. I believe they need a workshop. They need to be sat down and be taught and be shown.
What are the key points you'd make at
also,
that? I suppose you'd be the one presenting at this workshop. What are the key things you would present to them?
They need to see how the whole thing works, especially on the body. And I also believe we can do a research. Botswana. A research would be taking a certain number of people maybe and using this on them for a certain period of time and recording before they use this, how were they after using this, how are they? Or maybe you can have another group, a placebo group, to see for those that are not using this, that are taking something else, how are they responding? So Botswana needs to be deep in research.
But don't
I believe research can be a convincing,
Don't we already have results of research from other institutions internationally?
Yes, they're there. They're there, but I think maybe when you come get the results, it's other people. Maybe it's not that convincing. Maybe we need to do it here in Botswana so that they can see it with their eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting earlier. You said you shouldn't smoke it, or it's not advisable to smoke it. Why? Why is it bad to smoke it and good to eat it, so to speak, or to absorb it?
And the chemical reaction that is produced when you burn it, and it produces smoke, it gives a different reaction to the body.
How do you mean?
There were people who were using weed to control COVID, and they were successful. In other countries, they were smoking joints after a diagnosis of COVID, and they did well. They didn't have the symptoms of COVID like people who didn't. But
is
the
the
truth of
research
the matter
is the research available, backed up, peer reviewed, and so on?
I'm not sure on the research, but I know of a certain number of people that used cannabis when they were smoking it during COVID, and it worked for them. But what we fear is the long-term effects on the brain of smoking it. Yeah. So what you need to understand is when you burn something, and when maybe you take it as an oil, it acts differently on the body. Yes, and it produces different results on the body.
Specifically?
So the smoking is detrimental within a certain period of time. You find that some people have got mental issues after smoking for a certain
time. Some not hallucinating, isn't it?
Yeah, some not even after a long period of time, after a short period of time. Some yes, after a long period of time. So that is the major worry there. Mental health issues. Yeah.
So the act of burning it changes its composition?
Yes.
Or it
changes the composition.
Help me understand that, because
it changes the way the body receives it and the way the body uses it.
So it's better. How do you then turn it into an oil?
The same way you take a sunflower seed and extract oil from it. I get a vegetable oil. We get it from sunflower seeds, we get it from olives, and we make oil. So yeah, that's basically the same. But when you extract that way, you get what we call the Rick Simpson oil.
The what?
The Rick Simpson oil, because that oil there, it contains everything.
Okay.
It contains THC. It contains. What way you've extracted it in totality. You have not removed certain components of it. Yes, and then there are special processes.
Okay.
After that, it has to go through to take either CBD, CBG, or whatever you need from it.
I don't know whether you are familiar with court cases involving cannabis, about people wanting to grow it and so on and so forth. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Can you share some of that and tell us what the attitude of the court was in those cases, in that case?
I think the court acted on lack of knowledge. I believe those people should be given a chance. Yes, I believe they should be given a chance.
The courts just stopped them from growing it, or whatever?
Because the government doesn't want it. You understand? And like I said, the government doesn't want it due to lack of knowledge. The government needs to sit down. The government needs to research. The government needs to benchmark. The government needs maybe to go to America and say, why did you legalize? You understand? What were you looking at that we can also look at?
And
I've seen the attitude.
It's not all the states. It's about 30 states or so.
Yeah, even in the UK, in Australia, in many countries, it's used medicinal. I think the attitude generally that I've seen with Botswana is if one person says, we don't do this, we don't do it, even if you don't have reasons.
I'll tell you, the fear is that what it does mentally to people, the fear is that most people will smoke it. And that, I'm sure some parents are watching you. I mean, talking as a parent, we're petrified of the idea that some of our children may start experimenting with weed, with marijuana. So, for good reason.
But like I said, specifically, I don't go for smoking it. Yes, but the seed has medicinal value that should be explored. When you have something, you say, how can I work with this thing? And how can I prevent this risk? I am not saying Botswana should say people should smoke weed. I get. In other countries,
use it without smoking
CBD is prescribed by a trained doctor, by somebody who knows what they're doing, prescribing it to a patient. There are many different medications that are prescribed, and those medications are risky at home. If you leave them on the counter and a child takes them and eats them, they respond negatively. I guess. So is CBD. It should be taken as a prescription medication.
Okay. Let's talk about your practice particularly. How do you approach it in your practice, and how do you assist your patients?
Mobotswana, we don't use that because it's illegal. Whether it has THC or what, it's illegal. So
it's a non-starter.
So we have to work with what the government allows. It's often not enough, and at the back of your head, if I was using this, the results would be better. But I have got limitations, legal limitations.
Is it Botswana or is the whole of Africa that hasn't?
South Africa has legalized. Lesotho also is working on that. So Africa is beginning to open its eyes. Yes, but I believe Botswana will open its eyes after everybody has.
The way things are going.
Yeah.
Okay. What purpose does your surgery or your practice serve in the market?
I'm basically a holistic health practitioner. We look into prevention, mostly of chronic illnesses, prevention and reversal of chronic illnesses. Yeah, so that is our main focus.
Yes.
Yes.
And you've been doing this for how long?
I've been a naturopath for 7 years now.
Okay. I'm sure there have been 1 or 2 cases where you've got spectacular results. Do you mind to share with us those cases without mentioning names?
Yeah, we do have good results in basically most areas. Hypertension, diabetes, in some cancers. Yeah, it depends.
Let's start with hypertension. Give me 1 or 2 cases. What was the situation before and what was the outcome?
Okay, I'll give you an example of a certain patient who came to us with, she was experiencing pains. That was post-COVID. She had a COVID infection, and then I checked her blood pressure, and it was severely high. And I immediately requested that she sees Dr. Bagat, because he's a cardiologist, because her situation at that moment was very bad. But while she was waiting to see Dr. Bagat, we decided to give her a tea. We have a tea that we make called cardiotonic.
Cardiotonic?
We decided to serve her that tea. And she took that tea while waiting. And by the time she saw Dr. Bagat, her blood pressure had normalized. I had actually taken pictures of her, like of the machine, the results, the reading before and after she took, which we checked her before she went to Dr. Bagat's office. The blood pressure had completely normalized.
Over a period of?
It was just like 30 minutes while she was waiting.
Really? What is so special about this tea? What does it have?
It has hawthorn berries, if you know hawthorn berries. It has hibiscus in it. It has ajina bark.
Hibiscus.
Yeah, these are very good heart tonics. Yes, they are preventive, protective, and they help to reverse hypertension. But besides the teas, we worry also about your lifestyle a lot, because the truth of the matter is, in natural medicine, we believe that most of your life happens at home, and you get to visit a doctor at certain periods, like once in a while. So during this time that you are at home, a lot happens, and that is a lot that changes you, either for illness or for health. So we worry what you are going to do after, how you are going to take care of yourself after leaving my office. Yes, so there are things definitely that you need to change.
Okay.
Yes.
What about diabetes? Have you had any good results there?
I had an old man once who came to my office, and he had said he had been diabetic for years, and being diabetic for years, he had given up. And from what he was seeing, his case was getting worse. And what he was telling me was that he had already written his wills for when he dies, who's going to take what and stuff like that. So we worked with him for a certain period of time. And after that...
about 6 months or something?
Yes, roughly around 6 months. After that, because what we usually encourage is that you keep checking and recording. So from his records, also as he was taking them to the clinics, they began to see his readings were normal. All the time, his readings were normal. So eventually, his doctor told him he was fine. There was no need for further medication. And he came back and he told us, I had written my wills. I'm going to change everything. I'm still alive. I still have a lot to live for, so I'm going to change everything. Yeah. So I think it's been 4 or 5 years. He's still fine up to now. He's still normal.
What
he
is
comes
it,
for regular checks.
What is it mainly that he had to change? What was the big U-turn, so to speak?
A diet.
Yeah, but what about it?
He had to change the way he eats, what he eats. And of course, yes, we gave him botanicals like herbs to take along with that. And we encourage physical activity, like giving him a certain number of days in a week, like 5 days in a week, that these 5 days you'll be covering moderate intensity of activity for maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour daily. And then we change your food. We usually give out what we call a diet journal. So a diet journal is you taking this journal, going out and journaling for us exactly what you eat without us saying anything. And then we study your journal and we'll see which are the wrong areas in what you are currently eating, and we change that.
And what is the main thing to avoid if you are diabetic, or if you want to reverse your diabetes?
If you want to reverse your diabetes, you need basically to avoid simple sugars. Simple sugars. We often say that you need to take a low GI index diet.
What are simple sugars?
Simple sugars are foods that when you eat, they process gas speed in your system and they spike.
Which specific do you guys simple? Which one is complicated?
Carbohydrate, for example, like porridge. Yeah, if I have to give an example,
it's a simple sugar.
It's a simple sugar. It's processed quickly. It spikes your sugar levels. They go up.
So
and the
pap should be avoided. Try convincing somebody at the braai to avoid pap, or just What else?
It's simple sugars. It's saturated fat.
You call it sugar, but it's not even sweet, Papa.
I call it sugar because of the way the body uses it. I get it. The way the body processes it, and the end result in the body, is a simple sugar. That's what the body uses.
What about macaroni and cheese and things like that, and milk?
Cheese. I don't really encourage people to eat cheese. Cheese is not good for health for so many reasons. I believe that is a study for another day. If you have time, I can come and discuss cheese. It's a
whole presentation on its own.
It's a disaster. And what you see nowadays is cheese is everywhere. I get in restaurants that's where people eat cheese and they take it home and stuff like that. So that's why we are so sick the way we are sick. Actually, our digestive system is not able to process cheese. Yes, so I don't really talk about cheese when I talk to patients. And then dairy, the fat in dairy is influential in elevating.
But dairy is good for
some.
It's also good for you, isn't it? It's got some good attributes.
Dairy is cow milk. It's not human milk. It was never good for a human being. It was never meant for a human being. What we always say is that a human being is the only creature that drinks milk beyond the weaning stage, and it does not drink its natural human milk. It drinks milk from other species. Dairy was meant to raise a cow, and the genetic structure of a cow and the genetic structure of a human being are totally different. So we can never say dairy was
I'm sure
good.
the dairy industry gets offended when you say that.
Yes, very much. Very much.
How do you deal with the pressure from the dairy industry?
They do a lot of things to silence. They bribe, they
Pay, they sponsor.
threaten, they do a lot of things to silence. But that is the truth that we do not speak about. How do you take human milk and feed it to a chicken maybe, or to a cat? But somehow human beings have become comfortable taking milk from another animal and consuming it and thinking it will land well
And it has
in their
happened
bodies.
for centuries.
Yes, but we've got a lot of complications in our bodies that if we were dairy-free, for example, we would not have.
So does that have an impact on diabetes?
Yes, a lot. A lot. So in most cases, when we're dealing with a diabetic patient, it's one of the things that we ask to let go. We ask to let go of animal fat, like especially red meat. Yeah, but the fatty pieces of meat, we ask them to let go. In most cases, we encourage a lot of fiber. Yes, we encourage a lot of fiber. And we encourage physical activity. Of course, you can't just eat without being physically active. A human being is a holistic being. Therefore, treatment should be holistic. It should cover everything that is necessary. So it's not just one thing.
To what extent has that lifestyle changes affected our longevity over the years, over the last 4 or 5 decades?
What you see right now is that cancer is the boss.
Is the boss?
Yes, cancer is ruling. It's like cancer is out of control. Even doctors don't know what to do about cancer anymore. It is because of the way we have changed the foods that we consume, our lifestyle. We are mostly sedentary. And most people that you see, but along the road are those by a doctor at some point has said, please start being physically active. Otherwise, we don't bother. But while we don't bother, at the same time, we don't eat properly. So we are dying. Yeah, we are dying.
So is there a direct correlation between, for instance, Africa having the youngest population and compared to other continents and the diet? Is there a connection?
That one I need to go into the studies and give an answer for. But hella, what you see is that a person would be sick and they'd go through chemo, for example, and then they'll be told the disease is in remission for maybe a year or 1.5 years. After 1.5 years, the disease comes back. It's now even stronger than it was before. And within a few months, the person is gone. So we even have, if you can look at the studies, before Africa did not have a lot of colon cancers.
We didn't.
But nowadays, colon cancer is
disease.
everywhere. It's not a disease of old people anymore. It's a disease of young people as well. And so those who we are thinking are the future of the country are succumbing to lifestyle diseases.
And the biggest problem is diet.
Yes, diet.
Why is the message not getting through? Why are people holding on to what they call SAD in America, which is the standard American diet?
The standard American diet is what has moved to our countries. It's not standard American anymore. It's international. Yeah, it's a standard international diet. That's what we are eating in our restaurants. We don't cook at home the way we used to cook at home. We just order while we are sitting on the sofas and watching our television, and a motorbike will just
bring a whole lot of cheese.
Yeah, and bring. So we don't cook at home anymore. So that's where we are driving, and unfortunately that is killing us. But on the education about the whole diet thing, it depends really. Most of our allopathic medical personnel, that is the doctors in our hospitals, are not taught diet issues. It's diet and nutrition. It's not their main focus. I've had people who have come to me and I've asked, didn't your doctor change your diet, looking at their condition? And this person will tell me, no, I asked my doctor actually about diet. He said, if I can eat anything, it's fine. You understand? So those are the people who deal directly with sick people. So if they had the education to look into diet and nutrition issues and were able to advise, then they would reach a bigger population of people. Now, there are a few people who are trying as much as possible to educate, but they're not reaching everybody. Education is there. Even when you go on Facebook, you'll find somebody trying to advocate for people to eat properly. But at the same time I believe our taste buds are now
conditioned.
They're conditioned. They're used to eating these tiny things that are not good for our health. So it becomes difficult now to say, I'm moving this person from this diet that they're used to that diet. Like I said, when I was treating my own condition, it was more like a determination issue. So most people who are successful are people who are determined.
Very deliberate.
Yes, they're deliberate. Yeah, and some others will try maybe for a week, and after a week have a cheeseburger. You feel I'm missing out on things, and they'll start taking it.
One area where you have, in fact, this is how I came to know you, is the area of prostate health, because a particular relative of mine had succumbed to prostate cancer, and they had come to you, and unfortunately they came at a late stage. So that's how I came to know about you. Now, tell me about prostate health in particular. Why are men having this problem?
Generally, men should have an enlarged prostate by the time they reach 70, going up. In most cases.
Is that when it starts, or when?
Yeah, mostly around that age it starts to swell, enlarge. Yeah,
naturally.
It's something that we call BPH. It's a benign prostate hyperplasia. We see it in people around those ages. When you look at an ordinary man, similar to 1040, they start to have testosterone decline issues. So most of their issues start from there. But like we were talking earlier on issues of lifestyle and diet and stuff like that, we have seen this happening to men who are even younger than Bonebo 70, Boneba. Because of lifestyle, smoking, alcohol, and stuff like that. So these are the changes that happen to men's bodies as they go, and they start having this earlier than we would have thought.
Supposing a man has it earlier, how do they reverse it? First of all, is it reversible?
Yes, we always say that early detection. Early detection, that statement is true. Early detection of the whole thing, it helps a man to be in control of his life and be able to reverse it. So yes, you can reverse it. Usually they check what we call PSA levels.
PSA stands for?
It's a prostate antigen.
Yeah.
Yes, so they check that in the body. It's normally supposed to be between 0 to 4. So we encourage men especially those who turn 40, who start checking your PSA levels every year. And when you see that number, tipping off, then you start doing something about it. But unfortunately, men don't go to hospitals, especially when they don't feel anything painful in their bodies. Just for a test, blood test, they don't. So because of that, we end up seeing things when they're real issues now. Yeah.
But supposing they detect it early, how do they reverse it?
Lifestyle. Diet.
Meaning what? Forget the sugar again? Or
the sugar?
Yeah,
to
you
say the
mentioned
sugar.
you mentioned you said you said palage is a form of sugar, isn't it?
It's a simple sugar.
Yeah, it's a simple sugar.
But hardly prostate would look into basically because it's not sugar related. Mehela, if it is prostate cancer, then if it's prostate cancer, in most cases in natural medicine, we take away the sugar 100% from the diet of a person. But if it's just prostate enlargement, we look into issues about alcohol, into issues of smoking, into sedentary lifestyle issues, and then we give botanical medication and stuff like that to help.
Do you think that tea would help that you mentioned earlier?
The cardio is for the heart. we use what we call the Serenoa repens, or the Serenoa repens. It's a berry. It's a saw palmetto berry.
I've heard of saw palmetto. What are the ingredients and how do they help reverse?
The ingredient is saw palmetto. It is good. Antioxidants. It's got immune boosting properties. It helps to normalize testosterone levels in a man. Jalo. It has got quite a lot of medicinal benefit. It actually works on women as well. It actually works on women hormones to normalize them. So that is one thing that men should have, especially out in Afoti. It's something that you should supplement. It's a berry, so there's no saying I'm damaging my liver and what. It's something that you eat.
Yeah.
It's an extract of a berry. So
what about traditional medicine? What about monepenep?
Monepenep is a blood tonic. It's a blood purifier. So I wouldn't have a problem with anybody who takes monepenep, because anything that is blood, that has got blood purifying properties, is immune boosting. Therefore, it allows the immune system to act on anything that happens in the body by itself. Now, when I grew up, my parents used to treat everything monepenep. When I have a headache, monepenep. When I have a stomach ache, monepenep. When I have this monepenep. So it was like a Panado of these days.
Yeah.
You see? Yeah. So it is a blood purifier. Anything that is a blood purifier. It's an immune tonic. It strengthens the immune system.
Okay.
It improves what we call killer cells. And killer cells are the ones that tackle disease. So the immune system, generally in natural medicine, the immune system is supposed to fight things by itself. So it's supposed to be encouraged, supposed to be enabled to fight. Yes.
All right. On that point, to what extent should we now be going back to look at our traditional medicine as Botswana, going back to our roots and inviting our traditional healers to be part of the conversation?
Like I said, Botswana likes research. I hear there's some doctor go University of Botswana who has taken it upon himself to try and study local plants. Because little Nahela is a naturopath. When I was taught naturopathy, when I went into botanical medicine, I was not taught plants that Botswana, you understand? Yes, unless I see something out there and I'm able to identify this plant is so and so, but I was not basically taught plants in Botswana. But I believe there's that deep need for us to layers. I always tell my husband when we are going up north, I need to stop Hadi Beat and have a chat with those men who are selling those medicines in red bottles. Try to find out what they're selling and go and research the medicinal properties of those things, what they are and stuff like that, and how they can be of benefit to the body. We need that. We need to take monepenep into a lab. We need to study the components of monepenep, how the body, like I said, CBD has got receptors in the body. Or how does the body receive and work with monepenep, But all that is truly lacking. I would say generally there's no support.
From the Ministry of Health?
Natural medicine in Botswana, yes, it's out. They'll crucify me, but it's biased to the drugs. 100% it's biased. There's no support, there's no voice, there's nothing, it's silent. So if there was support, if there was somebody doing something about it, you would be surprised how much medicine we have in this country, right in Botswana. Look at Devil's Claw. People are harvesting it in Kalahati. It is taken by Americans from Botswana. They
And
take
Germans.
it to America, they process it there, and then they bring it to Botswana as a finished product. We buy it. But you cannot buy it from a person in Kalahati because it has side effects, it has what. But if it comes from America, now it is fine. You see. So we have things here in Botswana. We have Hudia.
What is Hudia?
Hudia is
It's a plant.
Yeah, it's a plant that suppresses appetite. Yeah. But we are not seeing Botswana doing anything. We don't see Hudia industries in Botswana. We see Hudia products coming in from outside. So there's a big challenge around natural medicine in Botswana.
Tell me, as a natural medicine practitioner, what are you doing as a collective? Are you not agitating for change? Are you not trying to act as a pressure group?
I actually am trying to group those who are in the same industry, that we should work together.
Yes.
And do something about this. We have recently registered an association for natural. It's called Bonata, Botswana Natural Association. Botswana Association for Natural Therapists. Yes. So we are trying to go that way. It has been approved, so we are currently working on the logos and other things for Bulel. So we are looking into advocacy for natural medicine. We are looking into research for natural products here in Botswana. We are looking into all that, and training also of natural people here in
Because
Botswana.
I'm wondering whether there's any way you people can influence the curriculum even at places like Sekutumile, hospital during the training stage,
Yes, actually we can, if the government was open-minded. But like I said, our government is not. I remember
it's too bureaucratic.
I've been appealing certain issues with the government ever since I became a naturopath. And
which are
up
just
to
ignored.
now,
They are not even responded
nothing is
to.
happening really. Yeah, because I'm alone, one. Yeah, so the truth of
But
the
you have your
matter.
colleagues in the new association now.
Yes, we are just starting really. First, we had to have an organization that we are working on, so it had just been approved. So we're trying to run around to see that we set it up, and yeah.
Okay. Now let me just talk about the state of health in Botswana in general. What is your analysis in terms of based on the patients you are seeing? Do you have reason to be optimistic, or is just pessimism all the way?
I have to say, unless the government takes deliberate intentions or deliberate actions, we are really not going anywhere. Yeah, we are really not going anywhere. Because even, let's take hypertension, for example. How much advocacy do you see from the government on how people with hypertension are supposed to live, like how they're supposed to eat and stuff like that? When they come from the clinic, they're only told that's it. So they know why. They don't know anything
Don't eat
else
any salt.
Yeah, they don't know anything else that surrounds the disease. And then if you also go into the same clinics, you'll find out, go to the villages. You'll find all those grannies and grandpas, they're hypertensive. They don't even have the medication. Why hypertension? That is medication when you are put on, you don't just go off, you don't just withdraw from the medication. They don't even have it on the ground. So the government needs to have deliberate intention to educate the community on non-communicable diseases. Now came COVID.
They tend to have wellness days these days. And maybe a lot of government departments will have wellness
the Ministry
days.
of Health is supposed to be busy. The Ministry of Health is holding the lives of everybody. It's supposed to be very busy. It's supposed to be seen. It's supposed to be in the eyes of everybody. And we're supposed to know what they are doing. After COVID, majority of the young people who had COVID, especially the Delta variant, they remained diabetic and hypertensive as a result of the disease. So now we no longer say, we have someone who's 30 years, who's hypertensive, and that person needs help. That person needs help. You understand? I often wonder what can a person be on medication or hypertension from 30 years up until 70 years? That is 40 years. Garana 80 years. That is 50 years alone medication every day. You
Makes
see?
no sense.
Yeah, that becomes a challenge. So the government must deliberately do something. The government must be seen teaching non-communicable diseases.
Yeah.
And when COVID happened, the government switched to COVID.
Well, because it was...
Attention was on COVID. And they forgot what the other sick people around with other diseases.
Yeah, because it was like the house was on fire. You had to turn off. You had to turn on the hose to put out the fire first, isn't it?
So you focus on only the fire and nothing else.
At the moment, yes.
After the fire, everybody's falling down and dying because while you were busy with the fire, their issues were piling up. And when you finish the fire, you can't contain or you can't control them.
Well, let's talk more about what we call the fire, which is COVID, now that it's subsided. Now, how well did we do in your industry as naturopaths in dealing with it or tackling it?
We did wonderfully well. We did wonderfully well. That's one area we excelled.
Tell me what you did.
We never lost a COVID client that we were assisting. Yeah, I never lost a client.
A single one.
Not a single one.
What were your
and some were coming from Sekitumile, coming for help.
What were the interventions?
We produce what we call the lung health tea.
Lung health tea.
Yes, that is what we were using. We were running around, dropping it. What is that tea? They had infections. It's a tea that comprises botanicals that work with the lungs to clean the lungs, to clean mucus, and stuff like that, to assist that people should not cough. I had COVID myself. I had COVID. My whole family had COVID. The 6 of us, like me, my husband, and 4 children, we all had COVID. Oh. Yeah, we had Delta. July last year. Yeah.
How did you handle it?
We handled it with natural medicine. Yeah, we handled it with natural medicine. I would wake up and I would go and blend. I would make a blend of eucalyptus, a blend of onion, garlic, ginger, lemon. There's another small herb that I have behind my house. It's called plantain.
What?
Plantain. Yeah, it's a broadleaf herb that helps to remove inflammation in the lungs, in the gut, and stuff like that. So we blend that in. Sometimes we put lemongrass and moringa. Yes, so we managed. I never coughed.
Not even.
Yeah,
and were you not scared at some point?
We would also exercise. We would also live and jog.
Yeah.
In the evenings and jog. And some people were like, "You guys are not telling the truth." COVID.
Yeah.
At some point, I had to send screenshots, study results to some people to say we do have
skeptics.
COVID, and it was Delta, the Delta variant.
Oh.
So we managed. We managed. I remember there was a man who came to my office. He was in GPH. When he spoke to me, I thought he was hospitalized. He was an outpatient. So he came and. While he was in my office, I was like, to God, oh God, today you brought a person to come and die right in front of my eyes. So we made him the lung tea. He was sitting at a distance, coughing. And after he took the lung tea, it started to subside and he became normal. And one of the things we were using also was colloidal silver.
What's that?
Colloidal silver. Yeah, it's a medication that uses the nanoparticles, the silver. So that is an immune booster. It's an antiviral, antibacterial, and we use that. So after a couple of days, he came to check us and he said, "Hey, I was taking antibiotics every day go GPH. But after taking your medications, look at me. Look at me.
After how long?
After I think about 4 days. He was also worried about his wife because he was saying his wife was diabetic before COVID. So with COVID and diabetes, it was a bit of a situation. So he took for her, even though we never saw her, but she became fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he still comes just to check us.
Wow. So what about things like ivermectin and also steaming and things like that? We heard about that, we see about that in the internet.
Yeah, I
Ivermectin,
believed ivermectin works. I did. It's not a herb. It's not my area to talk about.
No, I see.
But I believe from the studies that I followed, the ivermectin, I believed it would help.
It helps some people.
There was a group, an advocacy group of allopathic doctors
Yes.
who were advocating. They wrote to the Ministry of Health to say, please give Botswana ivermectin.
I saw that circulating.
Up until today, the Ministry of Health did not
even respond.
Yeah. So when you have allopathic doctors advocating for something, it's well and good because they have a better ear than us.
Yeah.
But even that, the
Didn't
ministry
work.
remained. It stood still. It refused.
So it's a miracle.
But a lot of people were sneaking in ivermectin into the hospitals to people who were very critical. And those people, within 2 days, they would have recovered. Badule, Muspatel. So I believe it worked.
Okay.
Yes.
I also read that the worst thing you can do is put these people on ventilators, and a lot of them were placed on ventilators. What is your view on that?
I studied about that somewhere. I think I'll not talk much on it. It's not my area.
Yeah.
But I studied about that somewhere. Where ventilators would actually make the situation worse than it was before. Yes, and I know of a person who struggled at night, and managed to remove the ventilator. And that person was in ICU. After removing the ventilator,
Fought it out, yeah.
fought it out. After he removed the ventilator, they had actually given up on him. And they were to perform a surgery in the morning and put a tracheostomy. You know, you've seen a person.
I know what that is.
Yeah, they were to perform a surgery in the morning and put a tracheostomy. But he fought that in the night. He threw away the ventilator and started breathing properly on his own. That is how he survived the tracheostomy.
Yeah.
Right now, we'll be talking of a person with
a big
opening,
hole. Who speaks funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doctors can sometimes make things worse, eh?
Yeah, doctors are not God. They make mistakes.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the entrepreneurial aspect about what you do. Is there money in it, and how do you people in your profession position themselves to make profit?
Natural health has money, let me say that. Even though Botswana is a country with a very low population, if you compare natural health in South Africa and natural health in Botswana, the difference is huge. South Africans are doing well than Botswana. And mostly Botswana is a new thing. But hella, I've seen that people do respond very well to it. They respond very well to it. So it's a potential. What will I say? That's the English word for it. So it has the potential
for growth
to become something huge. Yeah, some people have already experienced it, Botswana, through our services, and they now prefer natural than anything.
Well, I personally prefer you guys.
Yeah, they prefer natural than anything. It
sometimes
does have a lot of potential.
Yeah. Because what concerns me sometimes is that a lot of the medicines you have terrible side effects listed in them, including you can have a heart attack from taking this medicine. You can,
Exactly.
So you wonder about that. Why the side effects are so severe?
So with natural medicine, you don't take prescriptions for a long period of time. You see, once you are well, you're well. You don't have to continue with a medical prescription. So and the fact that they don't have side effects.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about heart disease. How do you tackle it as practitioners of neuropathy?
Like what about
Heart disease, I mean, heart problems. People who are susceptible to strokes and heart attacks.
Oh, okay. Strokes and heart attacks are preventable. Like I said, yes, there are diseases that are preventable. There are diseases that you build yourself over time as a person.
Through what you eat,
through your lifestyle in general. You choose, like I said, you choose daily. Or am I feeding this disease? We often say when you look at your plate like this, carrying food, you must ask yourself, is this plate building disease or destroying disease in my system? Yes, and the sedentary lifestyle. Botswana used to be active people. They used to plow. Now we are in the cities. We drive cars. We don't walk. We don't do anything. The sedentary lifestyle. We've been sitting for a long time. We don't believe in this in natural medicine. We believe that after a certain period of time, you should at least walk around the room, hormonal circulation. There should be blood flow. So, yes, the sedentary lifestyle is another thing that kills us. A person leaves home in the morning, goes to the office, and stays in the office for 8 hours. And during these 8 hours, they don't move. We have these chairs that, we move with a chair, it goes, you pick a paper over there, you come back, you see it, you keep rolling it. Not
healthy at all.
Yes, it's not healthy at all. But what we eat, it's you are what you eat. That statement is truth that does not expire. So heart health, mostly. There are many different heart conditions. I get. People are born with. The hereditary and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, majority of what we call cardiovascular disease is preventable.
So when you get somebody who's just had a stroke and survived one, what do you do to help them to get back to normalcy?
Yeah, we've had a number of them that we've been helping them to normalize life again. It's a slow process. Once a person has had a stroke, it works, but it's a slow process. That's one thing I have to say. So eventually, Hela, you begin to see results, but it's a slow process, and most people do not have the patience for slow things. That's why people prefer a drug. I drink a Panado after 10 minutes. I can't feel the pain anymore. Yes, that's what people prefer. So, but Hela is a slow process, but it's a process towards rebuilding the body and reversal of what had happened.
Okay. Let me ask you about your advice to entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs out there. How should they position themselves for a healthy lifestyle as they start in their businesses? Because normally entrepreneurship is very hectic. There's little or no rest.
I would say they should be deliberate about what they eat, whether they're on the run or not. Sometimes if you feel that you have to eat junk or you have to eat dirt, or crap, as some people call it, if you feel you have to eat crap, you better not eat. Because I believe that's where most of their problems are. They don't
You can
cook,
eat healthy on the run.
Yes, you can eat healthy on the run. Better still, if you can't eat healthy on the run, maybe eat something small that is not crap. I don't know how to put it.
No, that is not junk food.
There are issues around diet while on the run, and the issues are around stress. When things don't work out. Stress kills the major organs of the body. It is one of the fastest killers of people ever, because it weakens the heart, it weakens the liver, it weakens the digestive system, it weakens the kidneys, and people never even know. When you are stressed, when you listen to yourself, you can feel like something is happening in your stomach.
Stress is what? Is worry or what?
Yeah, stress is worry. And businesses in Botswana are not doing well, especially after COVID. A lot of businesses have had to shut down. Therefore, you worry, you feel you are a failure, and considering the population of Botswana, we are all fighting for 2-3 people. You see, so they stress a lot. That's where they're killing themselves. So they stress, they become depressed and stuff like that. So they need.
How do you counteract that? How do you fight stress?
Stress needs a person who has control. You need to be in control. I believe that is a very, very difficult thing to do. But you need to sit down, you need to breathe and understand that by continued worry, you are killing yourself. So you'd rather take a break. Okay. And when things are not working, it's sometimes it's okay to accept that things are not working, and maybe take a breather and try to start afresh. But now when you find that they try to force, and during that period, that's where they destroy themselves. You'll find a lot of people with ulcers that are caused by stress. Yes, so it's something that
aren't we as entrepreneurs encouraged to have grit, to have perseverance, to have persistence? And those are supposed to be good traits. Some people call it grit. So are you saying that is not good for us? Or we have to somehow control it?
Does grit mean you have to stress?
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
I think we have to look at it from there.
Yeah.
You have to have perseverance, but you have to have things in control. Yes.
Okay.
I believe we don't have things in control as young people.
Okay.
And we are falling to that.
Let me ask you about your brand, Dr. Gasefete. 10, 15 years down the line, what are you seeing for your brand, and what can we look forward to?
I'm trying to grow an industry that at the end of a certain number of years, Botswana would look and say, we have our own natural products that are produced in Botswana that can help. My main focus is chronic illnesses. Like I said when I began, chronic illnesses are mostly those diseases that you are carrying for a certain period of time. So my main aim is working on those. I'm trying to build such that tomorrow, Motswana, even if there's no drug at the hospital, Motswana can have something that they can take that does not put strain on the body, that does not have side effects. I'm also looking into educating as much as possible. I have a page on Facebook, Dr. CL Gasefete, Natural Health and Wellness, where I try to educate. I pick a topic maybe after a week or 2 weeks that I put information on, and hoping that Botswana can read, and understand a certain condition. Also just put a few points for them to understand what they can do. Because at the end of the day, we believe that health begins at home. Health is at home. Health is not in the doctor's office. When you're in the doctor's office, you are sick. You are not healthy. So doctors produce sick care. Health care is provided by yourself and your family at home by the choices that you make. So I'm trying to educate such that Botswana can, through Natural Medical, through this brand, make better choices for the future, therefore reduce the chronic illnesses that we have in the country.
All
I'm
right.
trying to build a future tomorrow.
Wow. Do you have a question for me, doctor?
I don't know what to ask you.
If you don't know, it's okay.
I don't know. Tell me about yourself as an entrepreneur, though, and how things are going.
You'll have to watch other nuggets. I talk about it all the time. But I think we're going through a bit of a difficult time, but I remain overly optimistic, and I think the West is behind us insofar as COVID is concerned. But the rest you'll have to check on the nuggets. I talk about this a lot. Look at that camera, and please leave the viewer with one final summary, motivational message as we part.
I would like to say to the viewers today that your health is in your hands. Do the best that you can to make sure that you are healthy. Do not rely on a doctor to become healthy. Your future is in your hands, not in anybody's health. In anybody's hands. You are what you eat at the end of the day. And also let us remember that health is holistic. We don't cheat on health. We don't do one aspect of health and leave the others out, and we think that we will manage. So as you are thriving towards being healthy, try to keep it holistic as much as possible. We often say, for example, that you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. Just to give an example, that's what I mean by health is holistic. So while you are exercising, you need to eat well, you need to drink your water, you need to get enough rest and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, take good care of yourself.
Okay, wonderful. Do you want to tell them how they can reach you, all your contacts, both on social media and elsewhere, where your surgery is? I don't want to call it a surgery.
It's not.
Let me call it a...
It's a health and wellness center.
yeah, health and wellness center.
Yes, my health and wellness center is in Opticals, Botswana, just opposite Gaborone Golf Club. I have a page called Dr. Gasefete Natural Health and Wellness on Facebook. Another page called Naturomedic on Facebook. I have an Instagram account. It's Naturomedic on Instagram. And I have a group on Facebook. It's called Conscious Eating, where I try to educate people on how to eat and try to put recipes, healthy recipes. So it's a group, Conscious Eating, and 2 pages, Naturomedic, Dr. Gasefete. My business number 77896-378. You can reach me both on calls, WhatsApp. I have a YouTube channel. It's Dr. Gasefete. It's a new thing that I'm trying to work on.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube channel, Dr. Gasefete. Please subscribe to it, and I would very much like your support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sir.